Welcome to Leadership Speaking Radio, the podcast for leaders and changemakers who want to learn how to communicate with impact, authenticity, and human connection to their peers, teams, and customers in order to build better relationships, better their bottom lines, and become better leaders. My name is Dr. Laura Penn. I'm the founder of the Leadership Speaking School, and I'm your host. Visit the website theleadershipspeakingschool.com to find out more about how we can support you to show up as the best version of yourself every time you speak. Now, let's get straight into our topic. Welcome back, everyone. So lovely to be back here with you for one more episode of Leadership Speaking Radio. I am calling this episode, I Don't Have Time. And it is number 56, episode number 56 for the books. I'm taking a little breather from talking to you about the content in my new book. And you all know the title by now and where to get it. So I won't even repeat that here. Literally, I want to just take a little break from that work and press pause for a moment to reflect on a topic that's coming in through my inbox and on the phone when I'm speaking with my students and prospective clients. And it's inspired by the title of this podcast episode today, of course, which is I Don't Have Time. Now, that's not a reflection on me talking to you that I don't have time. I got plenty of time, and I care about our time here together, and I want to make this time meaningful. But this is about people putting the seed of an idea in my ear when they say, oh, I don't have time to prepare. Oh, I don't have time to work in the craft. Oh, no, I don't have time to put in all the effort that you say is required to make this presentation stand out, or to stay in the room, or to be meaningful. You get the picture. I don't have time. Now, I know, and you know, that time is the one thing we can't ever have any more of, right? We can have more food, we can have more resources, we can even have more money if we're lucky, but we cannot create more time. So I get it when my students and my clients tell me, oh yes, but I just don't have time. Now, what this means to me is a couple of different things. On the one hand, of course, I understand that everybody's super busy. And for some reason, after COVID, I don't know if you have this feeling too, but after COVID, I feel like people got more busy somehow. The wheels are turning faster. There's more stuff to do. There are more things to be engaged with. And from my point of view and in my line of work, there are more speaking opportunities than there have ever been for people. Because we are living in the digital age, and everything is a speaking opportunity. Whether it's to talk on a podcast or in a digital online town hall or to do a TED-like talk or to be on a panel, whatever it is, the game has just gotten harder and the stakes have just gotten higher because everybody's asking for people to show up in front of their audiences more frequently, more intensely, and more high stakes. So yeah, I get it. People are busy. But are you too busy to work on your speech, your talk, so that it has wings and stays in the room? Are you too busy to create a talk that you care about and, more importantly, that lives in the hearts and minds of your audience? The way I see it in this too busy world of, in particular, speaking opportunities, where overnight people are expected to become, professionalized speakers. There is a fork in the road. You have one of two different choices to make in this spectrum of I'm too busy. On the one hand, the I'm too busy of, literally, I'm not going to do anything except try to survive here because I'm jumping from one speaking interaction to another. I have a plan for the day with one meeting that is planned right after the other one, right after the other one. So that's a too busy scenario where you are just surviving in your communication rather than thriving. Or what if there was a second scenario in the fork in the road, which actually there is, where yes, you're still really busy, but now you're doing something intelligent and planned and intentional with how you've scheduled those meetings, or if you have the meetings scheduled for you. You have breathing space inside there so that you have time to do two crucial things for effective communication, which are number one, to build in transition and recovery between speaking, and number two, to prepare for those speaking opportunities. Now, if you chose that side of the fork in the road, in the scenario of I'm too busy, you're still going to be a busy person, but you're going to be a busy person and you will be speaking with people in a different way, thriving, dare I say, more than just surviving. And if you chose this other side of the fork in the road of I'm too busy, it's not going to work, I'm just going to do the same old, well, good luck with that. Because your messages and what you say will not stay in the room. The content that you share with the people that you care about, your peers, teams, and customers, will not remember what you said. You will not touch them on a visceral level. And your messages will not reach their hearts and minds. Because in this scenario of I'm too busy, same old, you are doing the me show versus the we show. And you don't have the craft in mind or the red thread of it's not about you, it's about your audience. So here is survival and here is thrival. I just made up a new word. So let's get into this one a little bit more, shall we? Let's talk about how you can thrive in your busy life as a communicator, because the two are not mutually exclusive. They can work together. You can thrive and be busy. So are you ready? At the heart of this second scenario of working to prepare your talks, even though you're really busy and all the other things that I've just mentioned, at the heart of this is what I've already said, that you need to build in recovery transitions into your busy day. Now, I hear of a lot of people who go from one meeting to another. Literally, they're clicking in to one meeting just after they've clicked out of another. They don't even have time to go to the bathroom, to breathe fresh air by opening the windows or going outside, or to have a cup of coffee. Now, this is going to run you to the ground if you behave this way. And you know what I'm talking about. You are going to lead to burnout, not only in a communication sense, but in a job sense, in a human potential sense. So if you can, and I hope you do, I hope you are able to have this kind of power over your own schedule. If you can, budget in pockets of respite inside of this busy schedule of yours, so that you reset and transition yourself from one thing to another in the communication sense. And it won't be a surprise for you to hear what I'm about to say, which is that the digital age is both a blessing and a curse. It's, of course, a blessing in the sense that it's never been easier to communicate with other people around the planet. At our fingertips is the world. But it's also never been harder because we are creating more meetings for ourselves in our online environments than we naturally had when we saw people face to face as the only option. If you think about it, a face-to-face meeting has a lot of transitions in between. What do I mean? I mean that you have a meeting. So you get up from your desk, take one more sip of coffee before you go, and you walk to the office where you are meeting other people. Guess what? That walk is a transitional time. That walk is an opportunity for reset, rejiggling, and reestablishing your self, thinking about, what's this meeting going to be about? And how do I want to show up, etc., right? And meetings weren't scheduled like they are today, back to back to back to back. So this has been both the blessing and the curse of the digital age, that yes, we have more opportunities to communicate with each other, but also that we have too many opportunities to communicate with each other. So this is taking a look at that ecosystem and saying, okay, so let's mix the old with the new. Let's, if you can, again, if you are able to do this, and again, I hope you can do this and have this kind of power over your own scheduling. But let's take a schedule, a day of meetings back to back online where you're communicating with your peers, teams, and customers, and let's build in 2 minutes at the minimum, ideally more, but 2 minutes at the minimum for respite, transition, and recovery, where you turn off that camera, you stand up, you don't just sit there slumped in your chair, ready for the next meeting. You shake out your body, you move around. Maybe you have your favorite song on a Spotify playlist. Maybe you play that, right? Maybe you open the window or open the door and go outside and breathe fresh air. And as you are there, you are thinking the thought, what does my audience need from me in this next meeting, right? Or you can put in the words, what do my peers need from me? What does my team need from me? What is, right? You get the point. What do my customers need from me? What do the audiences that you're about to speak to need from you in this next meeting? And get really clear about that. And then take a breath. You gather your power, breathing in. You release your power, breathing out. Do this 5 times. Gather your power, breathing in. Release your power, breathing out. And by the time you're done with those 5 breaths and done with thinking about what does your audience need from you, transition, recovery, and respite have happened. And you can click yourself back on to show up as a fresher version of yourself to your next meeting. That you will have time for. And if you don't have time for it, if you're still thinking, no, I don't have time, stop, drop, and make a bold decision. You are going to burn out and hurt yourself if you continue in the rapid fire way that you are talking to your peers, teams, and customers now, in meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. Stop, drop, and make that transition, which is your bold decision, and then get on to the next one. So, folks, this is one way to deal with your communication mayhem of just surviving and doing one meeting after another and so on. This is not a sustainable way for you to show up. And this is certainly not a way for you to be resilient in the longer term as a communicator, because you will burn out, because you will lose your life force, energy, joy, and because, let's be really clear here, the people that you are speaking to will not benefit from this version of you as a communicator. Man, I don't want to be in the room when somebody comes in like a house on fire, exhausted, pushing their words out at me, painting the frame and not the picture, full of just let's get this over with kind of feeling. I don't want to be in the room with that. I want you to remember something, that the word presentation has that hidden word in it. You've heard me say this before. And if you haven't, listen carefully. The hidden word in presentation, what is it? It's present. And of course, doing the work we're doing together, you know that present is about being present, showing up, being accessible, at the ready, available, there in the room with those people in that moment on that day for that talk. But the delicious thing about the word present is that it can mean something else too, right? a gift. That your presentation should be considered by you as a gift to your listeners. Not that, you're the best thing since sliced bread kind of gift, like, puffing yourself out kind of gift. But that, no, you have put in the work, the planning, the preparation, the rehearsal, if needed, to deliver this talk to your audiences because you want to give them something special. Because you've rolled up your shirt sleeves and put skin in the game to create something meaningful that has a heartbeat and that can live inside of your audiences as something that is alive. So don't forget about that. Don't forget that your presentation is a present. And as such, it's important that you think of ways to show up so that you're not just surviving when you are speaking, but that you are thriving. Because, as I like to say, communication is supposed to feel good. That is in our design. Our body rewards us with wonderful hormones, serotonin and dopamine and other lovely things that course through our veins when we have meaningful connections with other humans. And we are built for this. We are built to communicate with others in this meaningful way because it makes us come together as communities. It brings us closer to each other. It helps us to build trust, to increase engagement, and to survive and thrive as a whole, not as an individual. This is in our DNA to behave like this. And with the digital age, we've come so far away from this template. We are behaving like machines, not in the sense that, we're communication machines, not that kind of machine. I wish we could do more of that. And I'm trying to teach you how to use your communication machine here in this podcast. But we're behaving like we are machines in that we are doing too many things. We're not recovering from those things. We need rest. We need transition. We need intention. We need breath. We need sun. We are living beings. So this is my word to you here in this podcast episode. To stop acting like a robot and start tuning into your humanity. Make bold decisions, if you can, about scheduling in this transition and recovery time in between your meetings and your speaking opportunities so that you have that moment of reflection and rest. And so that you can show up as a fresher, better version of yourself in front of the people that you are talking to because they deserve that. You are giving them a gift. And part of this gift is you showing up at the ready, giving them everything you've got so that they can benefit from what you have to say and so that your message can stay in the room. So that's where I want to leave this episode. As a bit of a wake-up call for what is possible, but also as a bit of a nudge into what you can be doing, what is within your reach, hopefully, to change and adapt for yourself so that you can thrive more than just survive. All right, I'll leave you with that. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have enjoyed delivering it. Subscribe now to Leadership Speaking Radio to be sure not to miss an episode. And don't forget to visit the website, theleadershipspeakingschool.com, to learn more about how we can support you to show up as the best version of yourself every time that you communicate with your peers, teams, and customers. And folks, if you're enjoying this content, tell a friend, a colleague, someone you care about that we exist here in the ether. That this podcast is here. Let them know. And if you really enjoy this content and if it is something that is benefiting you and you're working with it, then please give us a 5-star rating so that this podcast can be found by other people who are searching for something valuable, just like you are. All right, folks. So that's it for now. I will see you next time. Thank you for listening, and start thriving. Remember, communication is supposed to feel good. So work to make that happen.